So by the time we get into our mid-30s and 40s, oftentimes we become aware of the fact that something's not right here, and we need to begin to optimize a good night's sleep.
One of the best anti-inflammatory foods is going to be those oily fishes that contain omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory simply by nature, and if your body doesn't have enough omega-3s, it's going to take up those inflammatory oils into the cell membranes. Another one at the top of the list, of course, is...
Here's the thing, folks. What we've seen over the last several years is the majority of people are either deficient or suboptimal in vitamin D. The ranges will go from probably 30 to about 150 or 120 in certain labs. We're talking about 25 hydroxy D that they measure.
Let's go.
Is your sleep making you sick? We know that sleep is absolutely an essential commodity for well-being and longevity. However, if sleep is not adequate and optimal, it can affect every single solitary system in your body, from your brain to your heart to your nervous system to, you name it, every single system. So we've got to practice good sleep hygiene.
Well, no kidding. Funny, the lack of sleep makes us sick. A lot of times I hear people say things like, I only need 4 hours of sleep, or I just can't sleep. I got too much to do. And I'm thinking to myself, you can't afford not to sleep. And the fascinating thing is, as we age, that gland that produces a good amount of melatonin before bed, that pineal gland, it actually gets smaller with age. So there's a tendency to sleep less, but it doesn't mean it's healthy, right?
That's exactly correct. So oftentimes, when we're young, when we're going through college, when we're getting married, when we're having children, we become the jack of all trades. We're optimizing that daytime into like 20 hours instead of making sure that we're getting adequate sleep. So by the time we get into our mid-30s and 40s, oftentimes we become aware of the fact that something's not right here, and we need to begin to optimize a good night's sleep.
Well, certainly, if we don't do it, lack of good sleep has been associated with weight gain, immunocompromise, depression, eating disorders. The list goes on and on and on. And we need to really understand that sleep is a benefit, I look at the sleep thing as like we're fasted and we're rested. When you're fasted and rested, you can heal, regenerate, recover, rebuild. And without that rest like that, you don't recover. And, for us, we've made it a point, and it's hard. I get it. You have to readjust your whole life. We get up early because you want to start early. But to do that, you have to go to bed earlier, which means you might miss some things. My question always is, what did you miss? Probably not anything you're going to miss.
A lot of times it's the loud noises on the TV. So if you're a person that watches TV, it might be that you just simply turn the volume down and start quieting the noise down around 6 o'clock. You don't have to turn it off at 6, but maybe let's just dampen the noise that's actually in the environment, from the TV to the radio to the computers to the ringtone on the cell phone. Those all affect your sleep-wake patterns, or the daily circadian cycle.
So we're talking about sleep hygiene practices. So we got to talk about noise. We got to talk about temperature. How should the temperature be in our house?
That's going to vary individual to individual, but probably 5 degrees lower than your normal daily temperature. You want to take that temperature down. Now, you and I sleep at a very low temperature, which is probably considered to be in the Arctic, if you will. But that's how we sleep best, is if the room is cool.
Well, and then we got to talk about the darkness. Sometimes that blue light from the television, the screens, and the personal devices will cause the Kelvin temperature to hit your eye, and it will create cortisol instead of melatonin. So actually, that will disturb your sleep, right?
Yes, I remember in residency when the daytime was actually nighttime for me. So I would have to sleep in the daytime, and that's a hard thing to adjust to. So I used blackout curtains in a completely sterile room. I made one room, the sleeping room, where there was no noise, no nothing. Nothing was in it except the alarm clock was set up close to the door where I was sure that I would not, that I would hear it when it went off.
Well, you can think about typically people will take magnesium, melatonin, L-theanine, ashwagandha, GABA, things like that. And for ladies that take progesterone, those are good to help you sleep, and it's interesting, that people don't sleep. Sometimes people are resistant to taking those things. So I say, no. These are not negatives. They're positives. So taking those things is good, right?
Absolutely. And just like you said, if sleep is becoming out of balance, perhaps it's time that you want to visit with your clinician, your physician, and have your hormones tested, maybe possibly be tested for sleep apnea that could be disrupting your sleep, or maybe even get a sleep tracker and watch how you're doing with your sleep on your watch, a ring, ultra-human ring, or whatever device you choose.
Catch some Z's next time, will you? Can you relieve your back pain through exercise and even foods?
Find out coming up next. I don't know about you, but I have to have that cup of coffee in the morning. And Kingdom Coffee is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, and it is organic. It's got this flavor that is delicious. You don't even have to put cream or sweetener in it.
This is actually organic, mold-free, certified. It's got a little certificate with it. That's important because ultimately people drink coffee. It's cultural. And so we tried to meet the culture where it is and create a healthy alternative.
Hey friends, you already know the answer to this, but we'll ask you anyway. If you stay away from your favorite junk food for a month and then go back to supersizing it, will your health improve?
Well, that's the thing about change. To change, we have to be as consistent as possible.
And when we go back to an old habit, it's not the end of the world. We just get back at the new habit.
Before you know it, real transformation is evident to you and others.
That's why we offer a bunch of helpful bonuses when you subscribe to Kingdom Fuel.
Kingdom Fuel is our complete nutritional meal shake.
It's the simple start to a transformed life, and we'll auto ship every month so you don't run out.
You'll receive 2 free shaker cups, free access to our video courses, and a monthly call with us filled with practical inspiration.
Just see the link below or on your screen and subscribe today.
Kingdom Candy with a K again. 2 flavors. We got salted
Delicious.
caramel and peanut butter. These are great. I mean, they're
kind of like a complete meal.
yeah, they're 200 calories. People want to know that all the time, and not that we're worried about calories, but these things have great ingredients. They're not sweetened with sugars, and they don't have those false sugars or fake sugars, artificial
They've got
sugars.
fiber in them.
They do. It's interesting. Salted caramel crunch is our newest flavor. We'll come up with some other stuff at some point, but those can bridge the gap of that sweet tooth craving. They're sweetened with monk fruit. That's really, if you know what that is, it's not going to raise blood sugar.
It's really only 2 grams of sugar. I refer to it as the sweet without the cheat.
Any of these things out here are designed to be money-saving, nutrition-giving, and life-enhancing. And this is a big deal. So you'll find out, like thousands of other people did, that these things will help you live healthy longer. if you're suffering from fatigue. If you know you got toxic overload because you bringing in stuff that's actually inflammatory and toxic, it's time to get your body in a place where it can function again, because toxic buildup can and does and will kill you.
Kingdom Detox and Kingdom Detox packets. So the body's completely nourished. It gets a little bit of rest because it's not having to over digest, so to speak, and it gets the right nutrients that support those phases.
That's why the Kingdom Detox process works.
With back pain being one of the most common reasons that people visit a doctor's office, whether it's from a trauma, an injury, being overweight, having postural disturbances, and the list can go on, there are a lot of really great things that we can do, from just simply changing our diet and things that we take in nutritionally to simple exercises that we can perform at home. Let's just dive into this and talk about these solutions.
Now, even before we talk about the exercises and diet, we've got to talk about the way a bigger belly or a bigger gut can create low back pain because it pulls forward. So we need to really talk about why we would eat real good foods to get our visceral fat down, and why not doing that contributes to the back pain we have. So, I mean, that's an obvious different show, different day, but it does relate. So when we talk about this idea of foods, we got to talk about, first of all, the anti-inflammatory foods that do not promote excess fat gain.
One of the best anti-inflammatory foods is going to be those oily fishes that contain omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory simply by nature, and if your body doesn't have enough omega-3s, it's going to take up those inflammatory oils into the cell membranes. Another one at the top of the list, of course, is curcumin or turmeric. That does a wonderful job at helping relieve joint pain, back pain, ankle pain, neck pain. So that's also something you'd want to have in your cupboard.
Well, and certainly, even though we take in those things from food, we need to supplement with those things as well. It's not uncommon for you and I to supplement on top of eating fatty fish 3 to 4 grams, 3 to 4,000 milligrams, same thing, of essential omega-3 fatty acids through EPA and DHA. And also, we will substitute or supplement with curcumin. I probably use 1,000 milligrams of that a day, and I like the...
Just as a spice or a seasoning.
Yeah, I use it a lot. Pretty much everything that I eat's got orange powdery stuff on it. That's the curcumin right there, right? And it's really fascinating because that does relieve some of the back pain, at least the inflammatory part of that.
There's a few other foods that we forget to think about that are also anti-inflammatory. Just simply going into our spice cabinet, or even in the fresh vegetable section, taking things and putting them in your cart and then using them with cooking your dishes, are like onions,
Yep.
garlic, shallots, leeks, even ginger is an anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, and you can sometimes find combination spices with more than one of those things in there. So don't feel like you got to go to the store and look for each individual one of those spices that Dr. Michelle just mentioned. You can actually find spices that contain all of those things and more, and you can get some really good sort of compounding benefits of that.
There's several really simple exercises that people can do at home, and they can just do them either laying flat on the floor or on their bed. One of them is the knee to chest.
Yeah, when you talk about just pulling the knee upwards toward the chest,
While laying on your back?
while laying on your back, you could do it in the chair like this. It's going to help a little bit, but when you're back, it's going to be better. You're talking about stretching that whole lower back, that whole lumbar area, which is going to be outstanding, and obviously it's going to build more flexibility. Flexibility is something that sort of builds, I like to look at that like resilience. You can get so tight that you don't bounce back enough, and boy, age is one of the things that is indicative and associated with more tightness.
Oftentimes that lumbar spine, the rotational component of it just gets diminished, and simply laying on your back, knees bent or flexed, feet flat, rotating those knees side to side simply can aid the mobility and flexibility in the lumbar spine.
Yeah, it's like you're going to do this with both knees. Lying down, you're going to pull the leg up, but this time, instead of just pulling it straight up, you're going to cross it over across the other one and maybe give it a pull over here. And that's going to twist the spine. And I do that a lot post-workout, because it does, the low back does get tight. It's not just if you accumulate visceral fat, but you're sitting all the time and posture is bad. So these are good little techniques for that.
Also, just simply laying on your back, feet flat, knees bent, lifting the hips up. Sometimes the glutes just become so dysfunctional, those muscles forget that they actually need to work to support the lumbar spine.
Yep.
So doing some simple back bridges can be beneficial for low back pain as well.
Yeah, a lot of people will sit on their back like this, and instead of like putting the hands over your head and making a bridge, they'll just use the bridge by lifting up their pelvis area or squeezing their gluteus and lifting it up. And that makes a big difference.
And last but not least, that simple camel pose where you're on your all fours and you're just simply raising your spine towards the ceiling and then sinking it down towards the floor. That also can create some mobility and flexibility in areas that might have become stiff.
It's funny, I sometimes call that the angry cat pose as well. It's really interesting because you're like the cat's all flaring up.
So lots of solutions for low back pain, from food to flexibility with simple exercises at home.
There you go. So no more back pain for you. Put these things into practice.
Have you ever wondered how to cope with seasonal affective disorder?
We're going to teach you how to be glad, coming right up.
I don't know about you, but I have to have that cup of coffee in the morning. And Kingdom Coffee is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, and it is organic. It's got this flavor that is delicious. You don't even have to put cream or sweetener in it.
And it's Kingdom Cup with a K,
K.
right? So this is important. 50% of all coffee at least contains mold. And this is a key thing. That's in bean form, right? So you're going to be a little grinder. They're just a few bucks. Grind it up, put it in your maker, and make it. Why did we go with the bean form, the whole bean? Because ultimately the powder form is the one that gathers the most moisture. And that means the more potential mold development. So this is actually organic, mold-free, certified. It's got a little certificate with it. That's important because ultimately people drink coffee. It's cultural. And so we tried to meet the culture where it is and create a healthy alternative.
Can a shake transform your life?
If it helps you invest in your health on a daily basis, the answer is
Yes!
Kingdom Fuel is our complete nutritional meal shake.
It's the simple start to a transformed life.
We'll auto ship every month so you don't run out.
You'll receive 2 free shaker cups, free access to our video courses, and a monthly call with us filled with practical inspiration.
Just see the link below or on your screen and subscribe today. Now we have it, Kingdom Crunch.
It's important to start breakfast off with a power-packed punch. You want a complete amino acid score, good protein. If you turn the label over and look at the back of the box, there is no added sugars in either one of these flavors, either peanut butter or acai bowl.
Peanut butter has 11 grams of high-quality protein. Acai bowl has 8. Peanut butter has 11 grams of carbohydrate, acai bowl 12, and both of them have a good solid fat content at 6 grams. Very filling, very healthy.
You will be fueling yourself with high quality fuel, starting off the day right. You can even use Kingdom Crunch as a snack in the middle of the day if you just have a craving and you want to eat something that is good for you, has a crunch, and doesn't have a lot of calories.
There you go. Diabetic friendly, keto friendly, paleo friendly, Kingdom Crunch, and
Child friendly.
Kingdom Candy with a K again. 2 flavors. We got salted
Delicious.
caramel and peanut butter. These are great. I mean, they're
kind of like a complete meal.
yeah, they're 200 calories. People want to know that all the time, and not that we're worried about calories, but these things have great ingredients. They're not sweetened with sugars, and they don't have those false sugars or fake sugars, artificial
They've got
sugars.
fiber in them.
They do. It's interesting. Salted caramel crunch is our newest flavor. We'll come up with some other stuff at some point, but those can bridge the gap of that sweet tooth craving. They're sweetened with monk fruit. That's really, if you know what that is, it's not going to raise blood sugar.
It's really only 2 grams of sugar. I refer to it as the sweet without the cheat.
Any of these things out here are designed to be money-saving, nutrition-giving, and life-enhancing. And this is a big deal. So you'll find out, like thousands of other people did, that these things will help you live healthy longer. We see it every year. The days get shorter, the night gets longer, the dark gets more, and the light gets less. That's right. I'm talking about getting into the wintertime, and then we get this thing called SAD, seasonal affective disorder. It tends to happen over the time. That's why when I was a police officer, I watched more people get into this depressive state in the holiday season, which happened to be in the wintertime. It has to be related to seasonal affective disorder. But what are some things that we can actually do to remedy this thing called SAD?
Well, first things first is oftentimes just knowing whether or not it is seasonal affective disorder or true clinical depression or iron deficiency anemia or something else. So to have a lab panel done to where some of these things are checked, like what is your vitamin D level? What is your iron level? What are some of your other nutrient levels that might be at the root of the problem? Vitamin D. Why is that so important? When the sun goes behind the clouds in the wintertime, your vitamin D levels take a hit and they oftentimes start to go down. So if you just have a borderline normal vitamin D level in the summertime and the sun goes behind the clouds, that vitamin D level starts to drop off. Hence, here comes seasonal affective disorder. Well, isn't it just a simple remedy to take vitamin D to get that level up to where we don't have to go through this seasonal affective disorder?
I think so. And, a lot of people wonder how much they need to take. But here's the thing, folks. What we've seen over the last several years is the majority of people are either deficient or suboptimal in vitamin D. The ranges will go from probably 30 to about 150 or 120 in certain labs. We're talking about 25 hydroxy D that they measure, which is the active form. Having said that, it does take, in our experience, at least 5,000 international units or 125 micrograms, depending on what metric you use to measure, to get that up to a level that we believe is sufficient. We do not believe that 30 is sufficient. We like at least 50, so 50 becomes our bottom number. But we have seen that people need more of that. For example, people with darker skin, they need more vitamin D. People with lighter skin perhaps need less, but we've still seen it across the board that about 5,000 international units for people over, say, 12 years old is pretty standard.
Yes, and of course, we don't want people to get toxic on it, so to have your lab retested would be a good idea.
Yes.
Another thing that's very effective is light therapy. We have a small light in our, we call it our sauna room, our refresher room, our infrared sauna room. It's light therapy. And you can sit in there for 10, 15 minutes and it's like being outside. It stimulates the centers in the brain that are actually stimulated by sunlight. Of course, seasonal affective disorder is not just low vitamin D. It's actually the light that improves the emotional output of the brain.
Well, it does, because this little gland that we have back here called the pineal gland, when the lights go down, it starts creating this hormone called melatonin, early onset melatonin production. But as we see light, it stimulates the other one, cortisol. So cortisol gets us up, gets us moving, it gets us motivated, it gets us active to go hunt, chase down and conquer the day, right? That's what it does. And so we're talking about this SAD, living in this constant state of a lack of motivation. And believe it or not, you have to have cortisol to have some motivation.
True. And so perhaps if you work in an office setting that is perhaps on the darker side, you may want to change the lighting to a more natural lighting type of setting so that it stimulates the brain in a positive way. Also, getting outside, just breaking the monotony, getting outside and looking at the sun.
There's times during our day, because in my office I don't have windows, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
It's a big deal.
And it's like I got to get outside. So sometimes during the day, even in the wintertime, I don't care how cold it is, I'll get out and walk around the whole complex just because I'm trying to get some air and some space, and it does help. This whole idea about seasonal affective disorder is a real deal, and I don't think it becomes this thing that can't be overcome like every time if we just take these few steps and get us going in that direction.
Another thing that I know that works for me is exercise. We know that exercise, it's like your body's own pharmacy. It helps you create all of these endorphins, if you will.
So if you're finding yourself having the moody blues or maybe a little bit of seasonal affective disorder, Check and make sure that you're getting adequate exercise. That exercise also helps you get blood, oxygen, and nutrients to your tissues.
How much exercise per week do we need to do?
At least 150 minutes of aerobic activity is a good goal to set. Also, 3 days of resistance training would be a good goal to set.
So there you go. You got several things right there to eliminate this idea of seasonal affective disorder. We talked about red light therapy. We talked about get outside and get some sun. We talked about moving around. We talked about nutrients that we can bring into our system. We talked about exercise. All of these things matter in the idea of lowering this thing, because we don't need to be suffering from seasonal affective disorder, especially in the wintertime. That's the time we have Christmas and holidays. Those should be good times.
That's right. We want to be optimal in those times. Make sure it's not another medical condition, that it's simply the change of the seasons.
So employ these things. Let seasonal affective disorder, or moreover, just let sad be a thing of the past, and move your sad every day into glad, right? So think about that, and we're glad that we got to share these tips with you. If you're suffering from fatigue, if you know you got toxic overload because you bring in stuff that's actually inflammatory and toxic, it is time to get some answers. It's time to turn things around. It's time to get your body in a place where it can function again, because toxic buildup can and does and will kill you.
Kingdom Detox and Kingdom Detox packets.
In those are the supporting nutrients, the supporting micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that support all the functions of a whole Kingdom Detox. It also has Kingdom Fuel with it, so you can do a whole 2-week detox process with the detox packs, or you can just take the detox packs. Either way is fine, but it's going to support that process.
So the body's completely nourished. It gets a little bit of rest because it's not having to over-digest, so to speak, and it gets the right nutrients that support those phases.
So we got to get the toxins out and let your body function well again. And that's why the Kingdom Detox process works. Now we have it, Kingdom Crunch.
It's important to start breakfast off with a power-packed punch. You want a complete amino acid score, good protein. If you turn the label over and look at the back of the box, there is no added sugars in either one of these flavors, either peanut butter or acai bowl.
Peanut butter has 11 grams of high-quality protein. Acai bowl has 8. Peanut butter has 11 grams of carbohydrate, acai bowl 12, and both of them have good solid fat content at 6 grams. Very filling, very healthy.
You will be fueling yourself with high quality fuel, starting off the day right. You can even use Kingdom Crunch as a snack in the middle of the day if you just have a craving and you want to eat something that is good for you, it has a crunch, and doesn't have a lot of calories.
There you go. Diabetic friendly, keto friendly, paleo friendly, Kingdom Crunch, and
Child friendly.
Let's go.